This review was made possible by contributions from viewers like you.
Hey guys, you've seen me review comic books. You've seen me review movies. But what if I told you that today we're going to look at some comic books and movies?
You don't mean!
Yes! It's time for us to review something strange. Today is a double feature review in that we're looking at a couple of shorts from August Aguilar's YouTube channel, Strange Films, and a couple of comic books that are based on said shorts.
Funny, I didn't know Dr. Strange had his own film company.
We begin with Cindy's Birthday Party, and the soundtrack is immediately putting me in mind of the movie Creepshow. I like it.
I don't like these balloons. If this movie has any sewer clowns, I'm out.
Thank you.
Yes, apparently this girl is the titular Cindy who's celebrating her birthday today. And is it me, or does she look a little too old to be wearing pigtails? And why is she inviting someone who looks significantly younger than her to her party? Instant red flag. Jonas notices the possible red flag of how he's the only one here so far, but Cindy says that he's just the first to arrive.
Come and get a juice box. I'm so thirsty.
Can your heart stand the shocking front door being closed scene? Cindy drops Jonah's present onto a pile of other presents, something which simply should not be if Jonah is the first guest to arrive, as she grabs a Capri Nun.
I took the label off this, because I don't want any problems.
Jonas points out the distinct lack of any decorations. Red flag number 2! Cindy explains that the party's downstairs in the basement, but shouldn't there be at least some streamers or signs pointing down to it? She closes the basement door behind him. Nope, nothing weird here. And he has no choice but to press on. The disembodied voice of Cindy's mom beckons him onward.
Jonas, come down here. It's okay, sweetie.
Spoiler alert, he just walked into the other world, and Mom's gonna have buttons for eyes. He finally comes across what looks like the party, but cake and punch aren't the only refreshments being served.
I'm so glad you could have made it, Jonas. Cindy's told me a lot about you. Ooh, you were right, Cindy. Jonas was a good boy. Very delicious.
The cake's delicious too, Mommy, and thank you for the new friend.
Happy birthday, sweetheart. I love you.
I love you too, Mommy.
And for the nitpickers in my audience, let's not hold it against this little kid whose eyes are moving around. If this little detail is keeping you from thinking that he's dead, then let's just say that he's still alive, making the scene all the more horrible. And of course, the movie ends just like it began, with a new kid coming to the party. The circle of life continues. Now let's take a look at Cindy's Birthday Party, the comic adaptation. I do kind of wish that this comic's official title of Strange Comics Number 1 was a little more apparent. As it is, I'm left thinking that Strange Comics is the publisher, while this is merely the first issue of Cindy's Birthday Party, and we're meant to expect a continuation of the story in future installments. The cover shows some kind of monstrous hand holding a balloon, again playing up the creepy Pennywise vibe of the story. People unfamiliar with the story might be unsure if this is simply Jonas's reflection in the balloon, or if the balloon is actually filled with his soul or something. But considering how Mommy's hand is dripping with fresh blood, I like to think that she somehow tore this balloon out of Jonas's guts.
What is wrong with you?
A lot. Cindy and her mother plan to have the best birthday party ever. Luckily for them, there's a Freddy Fazbear's right down the street. When Jonas is the first to arrive, he starts to worry when he sees no other children or decorations, and that the party is downstairs in the basement. Little does he know that that basement belongs to James Rolfe. Best birthday ever. Adapted from our short film, the first of horror and bizarre one-shot tales by strange films that are both lovable and terrifying. Terrifying, maybe, and one might certainly have an affinity for horror stories, but lovable? We open on the comic, and wow, I really wish that August Aguilar and his people had more of a budget to play with, because if they could make their movies look like this artwork, that'd be amazing. While Aguilar credits himself for the story, the artwork is provided by Tim Sparvero. And that's totally fine. If you want to make a comic book, but you're not confident in your own artistic skills, it is okay to outsource it to someone else. Despite this world being tinted in a disturbing blood-red hue, we find that little Cindy is perfectly capable of drawing a stark white chalk drawing of whatever the hell this thing is.
Mommy's very angry.
Jonas comes along, and Cindy happily invites him inside. Mommy is downstairs getting our party ready. Oh sure, as if all the spooky lighting wasn't enough of a tip-off. What is wrong with your face? I don't see any cake or decorations or anything. But I do see that the walls are splattered with blood.
No, that's strawberry icing from the cake.
It's all downstairs. Look. And I can't tell what's creepier. The black, empty nothing that the movie shows us, or this staircase that's descending into hell. Like in the movie, Jonas is a little apprehensive about going down there, and suddenly, Cindy has red, dripping hands. What, you can't wait 2 minutes without killing something? Mommy, are you still getting the party ready?
Why, yes, Cindy. I'm down here, and everything is almost ready.
Nice use of larger font there. It looks as loud and clear as it sounded in the movie.
See? Now come on. And as you can see, I'm a lot happier.
And again, like in the movie, she slams the door shut behind Jonas. Apparently no one told this little girl that trapping her friends in the basement is a major no-no.
Because this wasn't awful enough.
Jonas, come down here. It's okay, sweetie.
Oh no, look at those eyes. The buttonification has already begun. Mommy lures Jonas to his red-misted, blood-splattered death.
Happy birthday, sweetheart. I love you.
And where Jonas in the movie was slashed up something nasty, here he's a dried-up husk like he was a victim of the mummy. I really wish that the movie could have been based off of this instead of the other way around. You get a couple of ads ending the comic, one of which is a creepy movie poster for the short on YouTube, as well as a plug for the artistic services of Tim Sparvero. And it's very easy to understand why Aguilar would invite him to a birthday party. He always has plenty of cheesecake. Let's move on to our next serving of spookytainment, simply called Passenger. He always calls shotgun. We open on a small, ordinary town, just like yours, as a young woman named Lindsay is driving home after hanging out with her friends. She hears over the radio about how a series of mysterious murders has been taking place, while passing an equally mysterious stranger on the side of the road. Like the drifter with a hook for a hand, he catches up to her in no time.
Chris?
What's wrong?
Some man just ate my car out.
Some man just ate my car out?
Family approved.
I'm getting off of work soon, so just come with me.
I'll be there in just a minute.
And you don't want to mention that this man looked kinda zombie-ish? That might be important. She waits for her boyfriend Chris at the local boyfriend delaying company, giving the passenger plenty of time to unexpectedly show up like monsters of his nature are wont to do. Ew, it looks like the passenger hung a sock on the door. Chris finally comes out to meet her, but to his horror, she's been turned into a Harley Quinn cosplayer.
I've been waiting for this. Come with me.
Sure thing, Puddin'.
And thus, like Nick Fury before him, the Stranger escorts Chris into the Strange Films extended universe. After the credits, we see... Not only a jump scare, but a jump scare that laughs at us.
I do love a movie that trolls the audience.
And now let's take a look at Passenger's comic book, shall we? The first things on this cover that jump right out at me, aside from the giant passenger monster head, are the pine trees, implying that this story is taking place in a forest instead of the suburbs. Lindsay might have been able to get some help in this small town of hers, but in an isolated place like this, no one's coming to help her. But then the blurb on the back kind of betrays that by reiterating that the story is taking place in the small town of Irwin. Can the small town of Irwin be set in the woods somewhere? Make it a compromise? For years, Irwin has always been a place of comfort and friendly faces. Has it? Because it looks like an overgrown piece of crap.
Going back to Creepshow, this looks like the end of the lonesome death of Geordie Verrill.
Oh, you done it now, Geordie Verrill? You monkhead!
It is a place where there's no reason to fear anything but the cost of local taxes. But today, everything will change. Those local taxes are being repealed! Today is the day that Irwin will be born again. Good, because again, this place looks like a nightmare. Before opening on the story proper, we get a little prologue where an unnamed character is stalked by and very quickly hunted down from the passenger, and rather than go for the throat like we see Zombie Lindsay in the movie, it looks like the passenger prefers to go straight for the intestines. Ew. Later that evening, we see Lindsay driving very slowly through the woods, hearing the news of the recent murders on the radio. From children disappearing to alien abductions, are we really safe at night? Great, this is the same town where Cindy and her mommy live. Like many an urban legend featuring creepy cryptids, the passenger shows up in Lindsay's rearview mirror and charges at her, but it isn't until after a loud and visible thud that she drives off. Good on her for wanting to obey traffic laws, but I think in this case you could be forgiven for running that red light, lady. She calls her boyfriend Chris once she's gotten away. It's going to be okay. No, it's not. That man just ate my car out and she's feeling really vulnerable right now. And while the movie shows the passenger somehow getting into the car after Lindsay's done talking to Chris, apparently he's been here with her since first spotting her. Oh boy. Another difference between the movie and the comic is that Chris comes out to meet Lindsay after a quick fade to black, implying that some time has passed between scenes, but in the comic, we get 1.5 pages between the end of the conversation and when Chris shows up again, giving the impression that a lot more time has passed. Was Chris just blowing her off all this time despite her panicking? Speaking of, during the aforementioned 1.5 pages of time passing, Lindsay reaches into the back seat, where the passenger takes a cue from Pennywise. I'm starting to think that he and Cindy's mom might be related. Does the town of Irwin get regular visitations from Kurt Russell Claus every Christmas?
You shut your face.
Chris comes out to find Lindsay all zombified, but without an extra panel to show her biting him, it just kinda looks like she's vomiting blood all over him. Gross. Then her midnight snack is interrupted by the Stranger. Come with me. I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for a woman to puke blood on me, too. Thus, the story ends with the Stranger introducing Zombie Lindsay to some new friends, including the passenger, a werewolf, and some kind of Tor Johnson-like monster. This really does look like the Stranger is kicking off the Strange Film cinematic universe. The Stranger lives, and he's going to dance to Thriller. So now that we've seen 2 Strange films, how do their comic book counterparts compare? This might sound, well, strange, but actually, I think the comics may be better than the movies. The original shorts were good, providing genuinely creepy experiences despite their modest budgets, but the comics look like more cohesive representations of the director's vision. The artwork is delightfully unnerving, with cinematography that would be really difficult to execute in a physical setting, and providing more gore effects that would probably be too expensive to realistically pull off. Every horror franchise needs a mascot, and The Stranger has a lot of potential as our just barely starting to decompose Crypt Keeper. The nitpicker in me kinda wishes that there was more of an explanation as to where these monsters all came from, and while the ending of issue 2 feels like maybe that will be explained later on in the story, I have to admit that the lack of backstory does add to the mystique of these characters, not unlike Michael Myers when he first started out. I'm gonna have to check out more Strange films when I have a minute, and I'm definitely gonna want to see more Strange comics in the future. See you later.
This and juicy.
Did that music cue come from her juice bag?
Subscribe, like, follow, comment, share, watch more.